A bit of time has passed since we were introduced to Huawei's super camera phone, and there's been major developments with Huawei's phones recently as well. The obvious selling point of the phone is the Leica quad camera setup, but over this month or so, how has the phone fared? And should you look into it? One of the first things you interact with when it comes to this phone is its display, just like any other phone. At first glance, I didn't mind the Full HD Plus 6.47-inch OLED display. It's a good quality panel, but I can't help but be critical of it because of the phone's 3,399 dirham price tag at the time of recording this video. Side by side with the Galaxy S10 Plus, the display is noticeably weak in contrast levels and dynamic range, and that's quite a shame. Something I do like about the display are the curves and the bezel-less design. Personally, I don't find having a notch to be very disruptive, and this display does the trick. I especially like it because of the centered front 32-megapixel selfie camera, which makes taking selfies much easier than awkwardly adjusting your face for the pinhole side-mounted cameras on other competitors like the Honor View 20 or Samsung's Galaxy S10 Plus once again. The selfie camera also doubles as face unlock, which works well even in moderately dark conditions, and on top of that, the in-screen optical fingerprint scanner is improved from last year's Mate 20 Pro, making it a bit faster. Another big thing that Huawei's changed up with its flagship for this year is the speaker system. Your normal call loudspeaker works through the phone's vibrating display, which I've had no problems with, but it's the sacrifice it makes that has left me a bit disappointed. The new technology means there's only one speaker on the P30 Pro from multimedia, which is easily covered and doesn't give you that holistic sound experience I've grown accustomed to from flagships over the past. Oh, and there's no 3.5mm headphone jack, but instead, you get an IR receiver, which I'd say is useful, but come on, how many times are you actually going to use it? A headphone jack like on the regular P30 would have just made much more sense. Anyways, being a Huawei, you interact with Huawei's proprietary EMUI 9.1 in the P30 Pro's case on top of Android 9 Pie, and this could be the last time we see a Huawei phone equipped with Google services like Maps or Gmail following the recent worldwide ban, even though it's now been pushed by 90 days, which is a good start for Huawei, and I'm hoping it gets sorted out very soon. But back to the P30 Pro. Look, I get that the software is not the cleanest looking, but I've grown used to living with it. It doesn't bother me as much as it does other people, and it stays very responsive and snappy. A huge part of that is the HiSilicon Kirin 980 octa-core CPU on board, 8GB of RAM for that impressive multitasking, and storage up to 512GB with nano SD card expansion, so you won't be running out of storage anytime soon. I've also noticed that it doesn't heat up in intensive tasks like gaming, which by the way it handles with no trouble whatsoever. The software also brings with it some useful features, an inbuilt dark mode to save battery and reverse wireless charging, something we saw first on the Mate 20 Pro. The amount of software options and customization is truly overwhelming, and a native gesture navigation feature is also built right in. Although even after multiple attempts, I haven't been able to get used to it, and so I stick to the on-screen navigation buttons. There's no doubt that the phone is built well and robust with its IP68 water and dust resistance and looks really good with that glass and metal build, but I just feel like it's a bit on the heavier side and slippery. Combining this with the large form factor, handling can get a bit difficult for people with smaller hands like me. So I would definitely suggest using a case with the phone, and something like this from Rhino Shield does the job quite well, or a bumper to protect the phone from falls. And secondly, a case even helps even out the huge camera bump on the back so the phone doesn't wobble when on a flat surface or table. But yes, those cameras. A lot of high-tech features have gone into the P30 Pro's cameras this year, right from the incredible 10 times hybrid zoom to native optimization on apps like Snapchat. The quad sensor is made up of a 40-megapixel primary, 20-megapixel ultra-wide, 8-megapixel periscope, and a TOF 3D sensor. That's quite the setup, and when it works like a charm. The amount of versatility the setup offers beats any other camera phone on the market. But the experience is inconsistent. Like for example here, the software HDR processing fell short in one photo compared to the other when they were taken in the exact same conditions one after the other. It's just small things like this that could make or break capturing that special moment. But other than that, the phone's night mode and zoom capabilities are beyond exceptional. Huawei's AI also seems much improved, with it able to recognize more scenes with less aggressive edits, and the wide-angle lens delivers some great looking scenic shots. There's even a dual video feature which lets you use 2 of the lenses on the camera setup at once, which is pretty cool. We've done a video on it and have camera comparisons up on the channel, so do give those a watch. And that aside, another feature that is absolutely unrivaled on the P30 Pro is the battery life. With a 4200 mAh cell, this phone can last anywhere between 1 to 2 days of moderate to heavy use. Standby times are ridiculous on this thing, and all in all, it's really a leader when it comes to battery performance. That, and also being able to recharge the battery in just 30 minutes up to 70% makes you almost forget the habit of charging your phone overnight. The added wireless charging functionality also means you could constantly keep the phone charged when on a desk, essentially forgetting about the battery on the phone because it's just that good. So I think on that note, it's time for a conclusion. Alone, the P30 Pro is an exceptional phone for a number of reasons. Its strong battery life, the versatile camera setup, and the sheer value of features you get with EMUI 9.1, even though it might not be for everyone. But sacrifices like the screen resolution and speaker quality have definitely been made, and if the P30 Pro was priced lower than its competition like how the Mate 20 Pro was last year, I wouldn't hesitate to recommend it, but with the likes of Samsung's Galaxy S10 Plus available for lower in the UAE and offering things like a better multimedia experience, I don't know if the camera capabilities alone can make the P30 Pro a better sell. On top of that, questions with regards to future Android security and software support are up in the air, so we cannot really comment on how Huawei and Google handle updates to the newest Android Q version just yet. But we're hoping this is sorted out as soon as possible, and with companies like ZTE having recently sorted it out with the USA government, it looks good for Huawei too. That's all for this one. Let us know what you think down in the comments below and make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. This was Vaibhav and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.